My brother got my wife pregnant. So I did the one thing none of them ever expected. I erased my entire family from my life. No fight, no closure, just silence. Silence loud enough to ruin them. I'm a research chemist. I spend my days with controlled variables, predictable reactions, measurable outcomes. You'd think that prepares you for anything. It doesn't. I came home on a Wednesday. Ordinary day. Light traffic, a stop for groceries, half a thought about what to make for dinner. My wife, Marin, was sitting at the kitchen table when I walked in. Not cooking, not on her phone. Just sitting, hands folded, eyes red but dry. She'd already finished crying before I got home. "We need to talk," she said. I set my bag down and waited. "I'm pregnant." My brain tried to do the math. We hadn't been trying, but these things happen. I opened my mouth to ask the normal questions a husband asks. She cut me off. "It's Holden's." Shock, I learned that day, is quiet. No music, no slow motion. Just a strange pause while your mind tries to file information it has no folder for. She kept talking, flat, rehearsed. "It's been a few months. I'm keeping it. And before you ask, yes, your parents already know. We had a meeting yesterday." A meeting, like a board decision. "Who was at this meeting?" I asked. "Me, Holden, your mom and dad." "Not me." "No, not you." I called my mother from the living room. She answered cheerfully, then her voice shifted the second she heard mine. Careful, the tone of someone picking through a minefield. "We need to talk about this as a family," she said. "These things happen. Family is family. We can't let this destroy everyone." "The four of you already figured it out," I said. "Without me. We were trying to think about what's best for everyone." Everyone. I heard what she didn't say. Everyone except me. I hung up. I walked to the bedroom and pulled my old duffel bag from the closet. Clothes, laptop, documents, passport. Methodical. Marin followed, panic rising in her voice. "What are you doing? We need to talk about this." She grabbed my arm. "Say something. Yell at me. Just say something." They all wanted that. A reaction, a fight, a seat I'd beg for at a table they had already closed. I pulled my arm free, picked up my keys, and walked out. In the rearview mirror, I watched her in the doorway, phone already at her ear. My phone started ringing before I hit the end of the street. Mom, Dad, Holden, Marin, on rotation, over and over, like a slot machine cycling through names that no longer meant anything to me. I pulled into a gas station, engine running, watching the screen fill with missed calls and texts. "Please call back. We're family. Don't do anything rash." Family. My hands were steady. I went through my contacts and blocked every one of them. Parents, brother, wife, aunts, uncles, the cousins and family friends who take their side. Block, block, block. The ringing stopped. The silence that followed felt absolute. Then I called my carrier and changed my number that same night. I didn't sleep. Instead, I made lists. The next morning, I told my supervisor I needed personal leave. 3 weeks saved up, no details given. I went to the bank and opened an individual account, transferring exactly half of our joint savings. "We're separating," I told the specialist. "I'm taking what's legally mine." She didn't argue. By noon, my paycheck was rerouted and Marin's name was off every insurance policy I could remove her from. The house was the one piece of luck in the whole mess. I'd bought it 2 years before the wedding and never gotten around to adding her name to the deed. Mine, clean, unchallengeable. I found the most expensive divorce attorney in the city, the kind who handles executives and doesn't ask unnecessary questions. She listened without interrupting, then asked what I wanted. Divorce, clean. She gets nothing beyond what's legally required. The house stays mine. No alimony, no contact. Everything roots through you. What about your brother, your parents? Not relevant to the divorce. Most people want a conversation, closure, something. I don't. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. "I can work with that." Within 48 hours, papers were filed and a process server had delivered both the divorce petition and a 30-day notice to vacate. That night, I deleted every social media account I had. Not deactivated, deleted, with full removal requested. I changed the password on my personal email to something random I never bothered memorizing, then locked myself out on purpose. A new email, a new name format, professional and anonymous. 3 hours of work erased an entire digital identity. A week later, my office receptionist called. "Your wife came by. She was crying. asked where you are. I told her to give anyone from my family the lawyer's number and nothing else. My lawyer called the same afternoon. Your wife came to my office. Your brother too, separately. Both want to talk to you. No? Your parents sent a formal letter requesting mediation. No mediation. Divorce proceeds as filed. Your brother sent a 7-page handwritten letter. Do you want it forwarded? I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Shred it. She was quiet, then said, You're serious. Completely. That afternoon, I found an apartment in a different state entirely. Far enough that it would matter, close enough to transfer within my company. I signed the lease remotely. 2 weeks later, I packed my car on a Sunday morning. Everything I owned fit easily. Turns out you don't need much when you're starting over. I drove out of town at dawn, radio off, just engine noise and the quiet certainty that I was never coming back. I landed in Boise, transferred within my company to a different lab, same title, different walls. My new supervisor asked why I'd relocated. Fresh start, I said, and he didn't push. People rarely do. They sense the wall and stay on their side of it. I found a gym, a coffee shop with decent espresso, and a therapist. The therapist was my idea, not because I was falling apart, but because I wanted to stay ahead of it, to process cleanly instead of just running. You seem very organized about this, Dr. Reyes said in our first session. I'm a scientist. Organization is what I do. Even with trauma? Especially with trauma. She asked if I felt angry. I told her I felt clear. She wrote that down. My lawyer called every Wednesday with updates, delivered like weather reports. Week 3, your wife hired an attorney. She wants to discuss settlement. There's nothing to settle. The papers are clear. Week 5, your parents hired a lawyer. Formal request for family mediation. I said no every time. Your brother sent another letter. Shred it. The calls became routine. 10 clinical minutes about people I used to know. Listen to the way you'd hear a forecast for a city you'd never visit again. Thanksgiving, I volunteered at a shelter from 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon, came home, ate takeout, watched football, fell asleep on the couch. Quiet. Exactly what I wanted. 3 months later, I ran into someone from college at a coffee shop. Drew. Dude, you just vanished, he said, sitting down uninvited. Your family has no idea where you are. Your mom's losing her mind. I said nothing. What happened? I told him the truth, plainly. His face cycled through several expressions before landing on something close to disgust. That's brutal, man, but you just disappeared? Didn't even try to work it out? What was there to work out? They already decided. Still, family is family. Is it? He left looking at me like I'd grown a second head. A week later, he texted that he'd found my number through my new company's website. They're falling apart. Your mom can't sleep. Doesn't that matter to you? I replied once. I feel fine. That's the point. Then I blocked him. My lawyer's calls kept coming. Your brother's ex-wife had the baby, a girl. I'm required to notify you since you were married during conception. I'm not on the birth certificate. Correct. Your brother is. Then it's not relevant to me. She'd sent a photo. Shred it. I told my therapist about all of it. Do you think you're being extreme? She asked. I think family is a choice. They chose. So did I. Any regrets? I actually thought about it. Only that I didn't see who they were sooner. She closed her notebook. We can move to monthly sessions. You're processing this in a remarkably healthy way. In March, I met Noelle at a public lecture on materials conservation. She worked as a landscape architect for the city, restoring old public gardens. Calm, thoughtful, didn't talk too much or too little. On our third date, I told her everything. The affair, the pregnancy, the family meeting I wasn't invited to, the exit. She listened without interrupting. Do you think you'll ever reconcile? No. Do you hate them? No, I just don't have room for them anymore. She didn't try to fix it or question it. She just understood, and we kept seeing each other. In May, Drew emailed again. I'd never blocked his email. Your dad had a heart attack, real one this time. Stable, but bad. Your mom's telling everyone she just wants to hear your voice once. I read it twice, felt nothing. My father had made his choice. Now he was living with the consequences. That wasn't cruelty. That was cause and effect. By July, 1 year since I'd walked out, I had a promotion, A girlfriend I was serious about. Friends who'd never known the old version of me. Noelle came over that night. I told her what the date marked. How do you feel? Good, really good. No regrets, only that I didn't see them clearly sooner. She kissed me. You're kind of incredible, you know that? In August, Drew's email ran longer. Your brother and Marin broke up. He's living alone, lost his job over some ethics complaint, drinking a lot. Your parents are trying to hold everyone together, but they're falling apart too. Your mom hired someone to try to track you down. This whole thing destroyed them. I guess that was the point, huh? It wasn't the point was survival. But I could see how it looked from the outside. 3 days later, my lawyer called off schedule. Your mother hired a private investigator. I shut it down through legal channels, but they're getting desperate. How desperate? Subpoena level, claiming they need your location for estate planning. It won't hold up, but they're trying. What do you recommend? Restraining orders if it continues. Document everything. Do it. You're sure? This makes reconciliation. There won't be reconciliation. Ever do it. That night, Noelle and I were eating dinner she'd made from scratch when she said, quietly, I think they know what city you're in. Drew posted something vague online. Someone asked if it was you. I put my fork down. They don't have an address. They can't find me. But they're trying. Let them try. She reached across the table and took my hand. Good. Because I'm not sharing you with people who threw you away. My phone rang. An unknown number with an out-of-state area code. I sent it to voicemail without looking twice. It rang again from a different number. I powered the phone off entirely. Somewhere, 3 states away, my mother was calling every research lab in the city, asking if anyone knew me. She'd find out eventually. It wouldn't matter. I'd made myself unreachable in every way that counted. 2 years in, my lawyer called with the restraining order finalized. My mother had escalated from desperate to legally reckless, and the paperwork made it official. She could not search, could not contact, could not come near anything connected to me. This makes reconciliation impossible, she said. It's already impossible, I told her. She just doesn't know it yet. That same week, I bought a ring. Simple, elegant, the kind Noelle would actually wear. I proposed in November on a ridge overlooking the city. Nothing elaborate, just the two of us and a long view. I want to build a life with you, I said. The real kind, not the performance kind. She said yes before I finished talking. We called her family that night. Her mother cried happy tears. Her father made jokes about finally getting me locked down. After we hung up, Noelle asked, Do you want to tell your family? I don't have family to tell. I have you and your family now. Planning the wedding was easy. Small, honest, no obligation guests. Her mother asked about my side of the guest list over dinner one evening. Just a few friends from work, no family, not even your parents. Her face softened when I told her we were estranged, permanently. I'm sorry. I'm not. She didn't push, and the conversation moved on naturally, which I appreciated more than she probably realized. We married that April at a botanical garden. 50 people, every one of them there because they wanted to be. Her father walked her down the aisle. Her mother cried the good kind of tears. Looking at the front row during the vows, I saw a family that had welcomed me without question, treated me like I'd always belonged. This was what family was supposed to feel like. On our honeymoon, Noelle scrolled through wedding photos one evening by the fire. You look happy, she said. I am happy. 2 years ago, you were married to someone else. 2 years ago, I was living with strangers and calling it family. She set the phone down. Do you ever wonder about them? Sometimes I remember they exist, the same way I remember my old apartment exists, something that used to be relevant and isn't anymore. We came home to one last email from Drew. I'm stopping these updates. You clearly don't care, and honestly, I get it now. But you should know. Your parents moved to a smaller town, smaller house. Your dad's health never recovered. Your brother's marriage to Marin lasted 8 months. Guilt wedding, I think. Then they split. He works part-time at a retail place now, drinks alone. The golden child thing is over. Marin's raising the kid mostly by herself. Your parents help, but it's tense. People know the story. It follows her. This is my last email. Take care of yourself. I read it once and closed it. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. 6 months after the wedding, Noelle got pregnant. We told her family over dinner. More happy tears, jokes about baby proofing, a sister already planning a shower. We don't talk, I said simply, when her mother asked about telling my side. Never? Never. She touched my hand. Their loss. I got promoted again that year, director level, leading 3 research teams, the kind of position I'd only daydreamed about in my old life, back when I was too busy managing other people's chaos to focus on my own. One night, 8 months into the pregnancy, I wrote in the journal I'd kept since therapy. People think revenge has to be loud, a confrontation, a speech where you tell them exactly how they hurt you. That's not revenge. That's closure for them. Real consequence is simpler. You just stop existing to them. They wanted me to fight, to argue, to demand a better seat at the table. Fighting would have meant I still believed I belonged there. I didn't fight. I left. And that absence, complete, permanent, is what broke them. They live with the noise, the guilt, the searching. I live in quiet. Revenge isn't making someone hurt. It's making yourself irrelevant to their story while you build a better one of your own. I closed the journal and looked around the apartment. Ultrasound photos on the fridge, a wedding picture on the wall, Noelle's family coming for dinner the next night. Everything I'd walked away from was ashes. Everything I'd built was solid. Noelle came out of the bedroom, one hand resting on her belly. You okay? Yeah, just thinking about how different everything is. Do you ever wonder if you made the right choice? I looked at her, at the life we'd built, at the future taking shape between us. Every day I know I did. She smiled and kissed me. Good, because I'm keeping you. Deal. 3 states away, in a house too small and too quiet, a woman picked up her phone and dialed a number she'd memorized years ago, a number that used to belong to her son. The number you have reached is no longer in service. She'd heard that message hundreds of times by now. She hung up and stared at an old Christmas card on the counter, a family that used to exist. In another room, her husband took his evening medication. Their other son hadn't called in weeks. She wondered, for the 1,000th time, where her firstborn was, whether he was happy, whether he ever thought of them. She would never know. Back in Boise, I turned off the lights and went to bed beside my wife, already half asleep, thinking about tomorrow's ultrasound appointment, about what color to paint the nursery. Not about them, never about them. I hadn't won by destroying my family. They'd done that themselves. I'd won by building something better, and then living inside it, peacefully, completely, without them.